Hello and welcome to the Press Start Podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Shannon.
Hello.
James.
Hello.
And Brody.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about the new Nintendo game that they're in testing, story DLC for Spider-Man 2 or a lack thereof, Shannon's time with LEGO Horizon Adventures, recapping the Xbox Partner Showcase somewhat, and some changes coming to the way of the PS5. So heaps to get through, but Brody, I want to start with you. You reviewed a spooky game that I know we're all interested in. It's Fear the Spotlight, the first of the horror games that Blumhouse are publishing. Blumhouse? I said Blumhouse just then, but I think I said Blumhouse in the past.
Such a good name, isn't it?
Anyhow, Fear the Spotlight. How did you find the game, Brody?
I liked it quite a lot. Obviously, I don't have quite the pedigree in playing survival horror games as some others here on the panel, but having played something like Crow Country this year, I felt like this was sort of analogous to it in that sense.
Yeah, similar art style, right?
Yeah, retro aesthetic that really leans into like PlayStation 1 era graphics. Unlike Crow Country though, like there is no combat in this game pretty much whatsoever. It's pretty much all puzzle solving and trying to survive like tense encounters basically. So like the Spotlight is the antagonist and he's like this really cool guy that just comes into areas with like an oscillating light for a head, and if you get caught in that light then you are in a bit of trouble. But yeah, really cool setting, a good idea. Like it's obviously, the premise is basically you break into your school library of a night and try and perform a seance on this Ouija board, and then shit goes all supernatural, and your friend gets taken away by Spotlight, and then you've got to venture into this alternate twisted version of the school, which had obviously succumbed to a fire back in the 90s. So it's all sort of plays into that. Very, very cool, very spooky. I think the graphics go a long way to sort of setting that tone and the atmosphere, because the graphics are just sort of just bad enough, like deliberately bad enough, that it sort of leaves a bit to your imagination. Like you think you see things in the distance and stuff, and it starts to, get on your mind a little bit. But as far as like the puzzles go, it's all very like intuitive, and it all really flows together really well. Like I felt like pretty much everything I did, like it would sort of like it wasn't really hard, but like it flowed together really nicely, which I felt the same for Crow Country. I didn't ever feel really stumped by the puzzles, but they felt creative and interesting. There's a nice tactile feel to them as well, like so you can literally interact with pretty much all the things, and you physically I guess interact with the items. Like if there's a latch on something, you've got to click on the latch and then pull the stick up to lift it. So there's a bit of like interactivity with that feels pretty satisfying. And yeah, it's just a really cool game, especially for a team of only 2 people. Like that, it sort of astounds me really. But obviously this game had already come out last year. I think it had been established, but once it was picked up, I guess, for funding by Blumhouse, they added a bit of extra content, which I love what they do with that content in this. Like I hadn't played it originally, but I looked at what the original offering was, and the new stuff is definitely a cool way to go in that. I won't say because it's a spoiler, obviously, but nevertheless, what they have done with it is cool. So yeah, very big fan of it. It's probably, granted, I haven't played some of the big hitters, but it's probably the best horror game I've played this year. I like it quite a lot.
I was going to ask you how you thought it compared to Crow Country, because I know that was quite popular, so it's a step above that.
I think I much prefer it to Crow Country. Like Crow Country was good, but it felt like first survival horror for kids sort of thing almost. Like it was like really that simple and very, very over the top in how it sort of explained puzzles to you and pretty much told you what to do. Whereas this one, I feel like it at least leaves it up to you to have a bit of agency. And yeah, I just think the atmosphere and tone in this one is a little bit cooler and a little bit keeps you on edge a bit more, being that it's a school and not like this campy theme park basically. Yeah. So yeah, I like it quite a lot, and
a school just like a naturally scary place. It makes a lot of sense to set it there.
It always terrified me growing up. So yeah, it's it really hit home. Yeah.
I take it it's left you more excited then for what Blumhouse are going to offer here on out. Obviously, the first of, I think, 4 games they kind of announced during the Summer Games Fest period. 6 games, right.
I was going to ask, like, this is like they're just publishing, like, Devolver-esque, aren't they? Like, it's not their development studio,
No, so the developer for this was Cozy Game Pals, which, as I said, is a husband-wife duo who have basically made this game together. Obviously, they've got partnerships with Sam Barlow and stuff like that for games coming up. So, yeah, look, if they're going to be these sort of... I'm obviously a big fan of indie games with, I guess, the lack of time that I have in my 30s. So this sort of thing appeals to me for sure. And yeah, if they're all going to be of this quality or even, not even quite, like it's still a good offering for what it is. So yeah, the idea of all these shorter horror games I think is exciting. And I think it's been a really good year for truncated horror experiences. Like I don't know if you guys have like seen games like Flathead and stuff like that, Buckshot Roulette, stuff like that. It's been a good year for smaller horror experiences, so I'm excited for the future of Blumhouse.
Nice. Very good. I tell you, I wish Silent Hill 2 was a little bit shorter, given how much gusto it's taking from me to get through that game. If I could just wrap it up in a few hours, that'd be nice. But here I am, carrying on every night, alone in the dark by myself, no friends this time. Anyhow, let's crack on. I'm eager to talk about the Nintendo playtest next. The details of the playtest Nintendo are presently conducting have been leaked online by a playtester who detailed a Minecraft-esque game where you work with others to fully develop a massive expanding planet by utilizing creativity and framed resources. The unannounced, unnamed game at this stage also has another area called the Dev Core, which Nintendo describes as a social hub to gather with other players. Shannon, coming to you first, what do you think immediately springs to mind given the description of this game? What can you see this game being, and does it interest you at all?
It does interest me purely because I can't remember what studio it is. James might know, but this is the Nintendo studio that has done Labo and some of the other crazier Nintendo stuff. And I think we've spoken a lot on this podcast about how Nintendo do need some new IPs and new ideas. And this, regardless of what it turns out to be, it's exciting that they're doing something different and something new. And I think that's when Nintendo is at their best. To be honest, I'm not a big Minecraft guy, or this type of game doesn't really sing to me, but I feel if anyone's going to make it mass appeal, it's Nintendo. So I'm keen to see what it is, and of all the things this could have been, I think this is the most exciting.
Yeah, Minecraft's never quite resonated with me in the same way that it has with other people. That being said, I'm sure I still play dozens and dozens of hours of it, but I do like my survival games, and I think the kind of communal element of this, it sounds like, where you're kind of doing it together. It's not so PvP as something like Rust, but a bit more collaborative, I guess. Sounds quite interesting. What about yourself, James? A new IP, that's something to get excited about, right?
Yeah, just depends on the genre, which for me is, I don't know. I'm not much of a builder. I just like to... I'd go live in the world, but I wouldn't build it, if that's a thing. No, I think it's a cool idea. I don't know, for Nintendo to go from not having a lot of online. I guess Splatoon was online, right? They've done a pretty good job of that. So
yeah, fair.
To kind of branch out into that MMO space, which is what I feel like this is going to be, maybe, is interesting. Yeah.
It seems kind of genre blending, doesn't it? Because there's also I think a UGC element to it that's kind of being talked about too, which almost feels a bit Robloxy. Even the dev core with that kind of social hub area feels kind of Robloxy.
Yeah.
Mini games as well. It has a lot of mini games, so I think it's going to be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Nintendo Home. Or something.
Nintendo Home.
Yeah, except
Nintendo Welcome Hub.
Yeah.
Do you think it's sensible for Nintendo to kind of pursue that Minecraft Roblox audience, Brody? Do you think there's some room to maneuver in that space, or are the 10-year-olds of the world pretty ingrained in what they're already playing?
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be hard to wrestle those 10-year-olds of the world away, as you say. But as Shannon alluded to, if this is the Labo team, they're going to have some interesting hook to it, I think, that will justify its existence. I kind of hope that, because Switch and Nintendo, I guess, have always had fairly rudimentary online systems. Am I wrong in thinking that? As far as partying up and
compared to the other ones.
Yeah, I'm hoping that something like this might be at least a cause for them to, I guess, refresh those systems and think about how they handle that stuff going forward. Because obviously, if you're going to be playing with friends online, you would want that to be as seamless as possible. And I feel like Nintendo make things a little difficult at times. So that's probably an area where I think this could be exciting. But yeah, much like James, I'm not a very big builder or survival game sort of guy. Not really speaking to me, but look, if it's going to be appealing to the kids, then good for those kids.
I think this is the exact audience Nintendo needs to go after, right? Because I feel like they've got like the young kids who like their parents are making them play Mario or whatever, and then I feel like kids are probably going into Fortnite or maybe Minecraft, Roblox, like Rust. My nephews play, so I feel like, and then obviously you're going to your more Call of Duty and mature games. So I feel like this is like an area that Nintendo hasn't really eaten up at all themselves. Like obviously Fortnite and Minecraft are big on Switch, but yeah, I think it's that like early teen gamer that they'll be trying to appeal to with this, which is probably none of us, to be honest.
Maybe you.
I forget that
close to you.
Fortnite has like so much of that kind of like you can make your own games in Fortnite now. It's kind of gone that Roblox route as well. I don't know the last time any of you, or if any of you have played Fortnite, but you go into that menu now and it's just like tiles everywhere of all the different experiences that the game has.
I
It's
jumped
nuts.
on when they released like the music one and the racing one, and it was overwhelming. Like it's a completely different thing now. It's a beast.
It is, for sure. But yeah, I think your
even
point's a good one,
Roblox,
Shannon.
I
Those
just
early
don't know
teens.
anything about Roblox, but like I know that it is massive.
I think it
So
also
it's-
depends on how strict Nintendo is with the user stuff, as because I feel like these things really live or die on like how relaxed they are with what people make. Obviously, they are very protective of their IP, as an example. So I don't know how well that will go.
Yeah, I was going to ask
you're
about
right.
that actually. Like, why do you think they've not leveraged one of their existing IPs here and like
I
put
mean,
a
it's
Mario
it's-
skin to it or something?
It's very possible. Like this could be just a proof of concept that hasn't had any of that stuff applied
Right.
yet. Right?
Yeah,
Like
okay.
you could easily make this into something else.
Maybe they're concerned about like how much that IP kind of carries weight in that sort of early sort of teen audience that you've identified, Shannon. Like maybe Mario has kind of fallen out of fashion for that sort of age, that sort of demographic. Maybe
It's
he
over
kind
for
of
Mario. You've heard it here first. He's time to retire.
Maybe like I think
you were
I'm-
just like so interesting at times.
I'm just saying, like maybe Mario
I know what
appeals
you're
to like
saying.
the older gamers that have the
like
nostalgia
kiddie.
for it, and then the kids
Yeah.
that it's new for. But like, it's not so cool for teens, you know?
I'd love to see something like this. Like I've always said, Nintendo Land was so good, and like Smash because it pulls in all of Nintendo's stuff. So I'd like to see more of that. I don't think this will be it, but
Yeah,
I'd love to see them do more world stuff with all of their IPs and bring them together. But
yeah.
yeah, this looked like it had a cool style from the little screenshots that
Yeah.
we saw. It looked like a little Pikmin type of people.
I kind of
So
got
think
Fall
that's
Guy vibes. Fall Guys.
Yeah,
vibes.
true.
Yeah. Do you think this is a Switch 2 launch title?
Yeah, I feel like it could be a game. I think it'd come to Switch as well, but I could see this being something that they launch with Switch 2 as like a launch experience potentially. But yeah, I feel like for them to be testing it, like I know what James is saying about the proof of concept, but surely you don't throw 10,000 people into this if it's like not going to eventuate into anything. So
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying like it could be a game, but like it starts off as like just it's kind of like how Pikmin started.
or
off as
they've just used
Mario.
placeholders.
Yeah, that's what I
like
mean.
the
Like,
placeholder character models and
Pikmin
stuff.
was
Maybe.
Mario 128 at the beginning, almost,
Yeah.
right?
All
Like,
right,
it
I'll
became
give it to
Pikmin.
you for this one.
Okay.
No, I agree. Well, yeah. I feel like the Switch has missed. Like, it didn't have anything. Like, no Street Pass, no Miiverse. So, I don't know if... Yeah, it'd be weird for this to launch now on the Switch, I think. But, yeah, I could see it maybe being a Switch 2 thing.
Yeah. One to watch. I'm curious about what it ends up being and when it
Yeah.
materializes. Speaking of new announcements, not that that has been announced, but the Xbox Partner Showcase happened late last week, and I think it turned out to be more interesting than we all predicted it to be. Like, we kind of going, oh, maybe this will be there. I don't know, not really fussed. But there were tons of trailers and new games revealed, and a few jumped out to me as well. But, Brody, what announcements jumped out to you? What got you excited?
I think the one that, obviously, aside from seeing the Lake House DLC for Alan Wake, which
Hell
looks
yeah.
the hotness, I think the one that jumped out to me the most was probably Chronos: The New Dawn. Looks to be quite a redemption arc we've got for Bloober Team going on here. Obviously,
Yeah.
with Silent Hill doing quite well. Not that they
No
were
more
shit
shitty
before,
games.
but You know, they had their mid years, like the medium.
They said it
like,
themselves. They
mid.
called them shitty games, so you can roll with it.
Did they? Well, that's
They did.
They use quotation marks, but sure.
so they were quoting other people who said, "I guess our
they were.
shitty games."
Yeah.
They were quoting you now.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So that game looks really, really cool. Obviously another different sort of take for them. Like, I don't think they've done. I haven't played Silent Hill. Does that have gun combat? I don't think it does.
Silent Hill does, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. Okay, so
Yeah.
I guess it's
I
not
think-
entirely. Oh, who cares then? It's waste.
No. I going on. The Cronus was the most interesting to me. I think it's very clear that they've used the work they've done on SH2
Yeah.
to kind of create something like this, which I think is really cool. I've always felt that Blue Bar, even if the games are mechanically quite simple or even boring to a point, they've always been tense and atmospheric. And I think that they, to be able to kind of take the complexity. And I'm not saying that Silent Hill is a complex game, but like a game that feels like classic, well, the Resident Evil games or Silent Hill games, and kind of put their own unique spin on it, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
the promise of a very cool sci-fi world and a bit of a time travel-y story kind of excites me as well, because
I was
love
going to
that
say
nonsense.
exactly that. I think the premise sounds awesome. Like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like kind of a time traveler going back before an apocalyptic event, kind of to try and save people that didn't survive it, that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
relevant people. Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. And I think, like, the kind of character model of... I don't know if it's the protagonist or the antagonist, but, like, the weird, like, astronaut-y looking dude, I think looks
It's almost like a
really-
diving suit.
Yeah, a diving suit sort of kind of look. That looks awesome. It kind of says to me that they've got some real vision behind this game. And yeah, I was never particularly down on Bloober. Like, I really enjoyed the medium, where I think people were pretty lukewarm on that game. And now obviously playing Silent Hill 2, like, granted they're working with what I understand, at least not having played the original, is pretty rock solid source material. I think they've kind of done a really good job with that, and I'm excited to see like what they do here on out. And I kind of get the impression this one's not too far away, right? Like, did we get
Next
a
year.
release date?
Yeah.
Was anyone shocked that this is... I wasn't expecting anything from Blue Bar. Definitely not this year to see from them. So that's
I think there was
surprising.
like a strong indication that Silent Hill 2 was finished for a while, and Konami was sitting
Yeah.
on it. So
Sitting on it, yeah.
yeah. So I don't think that's a huge surprise personally.
Yeah,
but,
Chronos is coming
and it could-
2025, but no more specificity.
It could be
than
shorter.
that.
Like, I wouldn't expect this to be as long as Silent Hill 2.
It could be like an 8-hour game, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that,
yeah. No, I know. Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
that's totally fine.
The only other one I'd probably shout out, because I'm not sure anyone else will, but they might, so apologies if I just steal it off you outright, would be Mouse PI for Hire.
Okay.
Like, it's a Cuphead shooter, basically, and has that, like, you know,
Oh,
hard-boiled
yes.
noir tone. It just speaks to me. So I think even if the shooting does look a little simple, I think that the art style and the music and everything, that's going to do a lot of heavy lifting for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That continues to look like an interesting game. What about yourself, James? What stood out to you?
My main one was Kronos, but I'll talk about Firebreak. That
Hell
scares
yeah.
me. It kind of scares me a bit though. Like, I don't know if it's gonna even do well, or it might bankrupt Remedy. But like, I hope it's good. Like, I am very weary of these like very good single player studios making multiplayer games.
Yeah. To be
but-
clear, though, like, this is a 3-player, so this is made by Remedy. It's set within the kind of Control Alan Wake universe, although it sounds like it's more kind of the Control side of things.
Yeah,
the
like you're the
FBC is the
first
Federal
responder.
Bureau
And
of
it's not
Control,
live
right?
service either, right? It's just like a story.
Yeah, I
co-op
think it's
story.
just a 3-person cooperative game, right? Rather
Yeah.
than like a PvP,
I mean-
PvE sort of thing.
I really enjoyed
yeah.
Outlast Trials, and that's slightly similar situation here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it turns out.
I understand your apprehension, but I sort of feel like what they've done with Control and Alan Wake 2, like, I think they can easily kind of
Bring that over.
transpose that into like a cooperative thing. I'd certainly be concerned if it was like a PvP experience. I think that is like a very different direction, but I for one am like excited to play this with people that are fellow like Control Alan Wake fans. I think being able to experience that kind of all together with whatever twists and turns await us.
Will
is
it be
really
better
cool.
than their last FPS campaign, Crossfire X?
I was going to mention that.
That is
Forgot
the
that.
question.
It is on
Classic.
Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra, so I feel like that's already a win. Like, the fact that most people can just play it I
FBC
know that
Firebreak
really
is going to be on
speaks to the quality.
PlayStation Plus Extra as well.
Yeah, it's on both.
I think so.
Ah, I missed that tidbit.
Which is
The
rare
Game Pass
for,
element I
for
got,
something
but
to be on both.
yeah.
So that's
That
cool.
definitely does work in its favor, I think. I can think of a PlayStation exclusive game that might have benefited from that approach this year, but its name already
7.5.
eludes me.
I'm excited
Shannon,
for it as well. I think that there wasn't a lot. Like I scrolled through and tried to pick something I could speak about with enthusiasm. There is cool stuff like Subnautica 2. I know a lot of people that played the first one a lot, so that's exciting. It has co-op, which is cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak about Animal World because I am playing that on Steam Deck at the moment. And really enjoying it. So it's cool that is on Xbox. Was it on Game Pass? I can't remember. But anyway, it's a great game. So, and I feel like Xbox does often miss out on those cool little indies that everywhere else at the moment. So it was cool to see that come over. But overall,
in that same thread, I think Phasmophobia coming to the consoles, an exciting one as well. Like that game's mega popular on PC, so to see that make the jump over is really cool. Did anyone kind of take much of an interest in Wu Chang as well? Fallen Feathers. I know.
Which one's that again?
We have a habit of getting all of these games confused, but
I mean, it doesn't look offensive. It looks fine, but I feel like 70% of the games that have come out this year are this game with a different name.
Yeah,
Like,
Not that different.
I think.
yeah, for sure. True. The same name.
No, I'm looking at it. It's like it's a little bit closer to Sekiro, which is more up my alley. But yeah, like I that whole formula, like not just games that sound like Wukong.
I feel like I need all of these kind of like flashy kind of RPG Souls-like games to just like come out, and then someone to tell me which one's worth my time out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like I'm tempted to like delve into one, but I just kind of like I don't know. Like, do I commit to playing
I feel
it
like
at
at
Wukong
least-
now and then just discover that this is like vastly superior? I don't know.
At least like Lies of P was different to me. Like I feel like that had its own like artistic direction. It was like, but these are all very much Eastern mythology based, and
yeah, for sure.
I feel like they're definitely just all
they kind of just
copying each
blend
other.
together for that in that regard. But yeah, I think I agree that Lies of P kind of had more of a distinct style. Yeah, I think all in all is an interesting sort of showcase. I think Remedy kind of bookending things, definitely a big win in my mind. I'm kind of curious about when we might next hear from Remedy. Like I imagine probably be at a bit of time, but I'm kind of curious. Like they've got a million things cooking now, so
They're doing Max
Control
Payne
2
remakes, aren't they?
and Max Payne are both in production now. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have thought if we were going to hear from them in a major way, that'd probably be the Game Awards, given they kind of had that affinity with that event in the past. So to have these announcements now, like, are we going to see more of Firebreak at the Game Awards, or is that kind of it for the foreseeable future? I'm curious about what happens there. One I wanted to touch on too is Blindfire. I thought that was like an interesting premise, but it just seems like one of these multiplayer games that's just kind of suddenly there and feel like it's just going to suddenly kind of disappear again as well. Like
I think it was a novel idea. Like it kind of reminds me of like, what's that game where you can't see anyone on your screen? Screen sheet. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that kind of in a roundabout way. But yeah, I could see the novelty wearing off very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say I've seen anyone kind of talking about that after.
No, I think it's already dead.
Yeah.
It's gone the way of Concord.
It's grim. Anyhow, we've got Bloober just cleaning up. It's great. All right, let's change tune. Talk about PlayStation now. Insomniac revealed in the week that no story DLC is planned for the game, whilst announcing the PC version of the release. The leaks in the wake of the Insomniac hack had led people to believe that story DLC was on the way, but the comment from Insomniac might suggest their plans have changed. Shannon, what do you think might have happened to the DLC? Is it that their plans have changed? Are they being coy? Has it being absorbed into something else? What do you think the go is?
I was thinking about this earlier whilst listening to the Kind of Funny guys talk about it. I think there's a few things. I think the leak, because it leaked in the dev menu as well before the leak, so I feel like we knew kind of what DLC was coming. I feel like that has probably put a bit of a break on them doing stuff, considering they knew it was coming. And I feel like we're seeing developers move away from DLC or paid DLC now. Like Shadows is sort of moving away from it. I just don't think that there is a return on doing these massive DLC pieces. A, because people move on.
Yeah.
And B, I feel like it's much better spinning them into smaller things like your Miles Morales. So I feel like they're probably, I don't think they would have scrapped it completely. I think they're going to release it in the Venom game, or it's going to form part of something separate that's just different to Spider-Man 2, because I feel like they've probably seen that the return on investment for doing DLC a year later just isn't there versus doing smaller experiences.
It's an interesting one because I suppose, like, I don't know if like DLC really brings anyone new into the game nowadays. I mean, maybe it once did. Cyberpunk, maybe the most recent example, right? Like when the DLC for that dropped, I think it brought all of this like new interest in the game, and you had people playing the game for the first time as a result. But I think examples like that are kind of few and far between. Like it's more likely you're just going to get a percentage of your install base of the game kind of paying for and playing the DLC, right? Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Erd Tree. Well, that's another example that
True.
people might have waited for, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's probably truth in that.
Yeah.
But I feel like Miles Morales is almost that to Spider-Man. Like it's like if an expansion more than like 3 DLC drops. Like it feels like an extension of the game, but it is.
Yeah.
Like
And
a
it
separate
probably
thing.
compelled people to go and play the original Spider-Man game had they not played had they not played it
And
before, right?
I don't
After
think we
going
can
into
sit here and
backstory.
pretend that the DLC for Spider-Man 1 was anything to write home about. Like,
No, that's true.
yeah, like I can't recall a single piece of that content. So,
Yeah.
even if this one was going to be slightly more, I guess, interesting from like what it was a standpoint, like whether it's Carnage or Venom or whatever.
Well, yeah, I was going to say,
I think the idea
you-
go.
Carnage, like, you'd know more about Spider-Man than me, but Carnage would make sense to be a part of Venom as opposed to just a DLC pack that's sort of shut out, right? Like,
I think so.
That makes sense.
They could easily present it that way, and then just scrap this Black Cat thing that they're thinking of. Just make it Venom and Carnage because who gives a shit?
I do hope the Carnage story like continues in some capacity because I feel like it would all the setup was there in Spider-Man 2, right? And that kind of just ends at this rather climactic moment. So I do hope there is a continuation of that, and it's not ages away before it continues.
I reckon they were worried about fatigue as well. Like, if you're thinking if they've got like 3 DLC packs across a year, then Venom, and then Spider-Man 3, like I do think you give it a bit of room, which they've done by cutting the multiplayer game as well, because it is probably their biggest property now.
Yeah. So you reckon that that Venom game will come before Wolverine, right? That's the kind of assumption.
I mean, I think so. I don't know.
That's the way it was
Venom,
on the leak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Venom
guess we
and-
know that the leak is kind of...
Yeah, old news. Yeah,
Take it with
Yeah.
a pinch of salt.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that the leak hasn't kind of like spoiled everything, to be honest. Like that things are kind of in flux, and I guess that was always on the cards that, you know, you see one document but not another or whatever as part of that. But yeah, I guess the fear was that every Insomniac announcement and surprise was going to be taken away from us. But I guess by way of this announcement, it's kind of still on the cards that actually plans are in flux and we might get some surprises. So that's exciting. I think that's a silver lining. Sticking with PlayStation a moment longer, Shannon, you got to go hands-on with Lego Horizon Adventures this past week. How did you enjoy the game?
once
I
again.
thought we were going to talk about Welcome Hub then. I was very excited and ready to go.
That's next. You can wait for Welcome Hub.
Yeah, it is. It's good. I played it at Summer Game Fest, but it was a very quick, like 15-minute jet-lagged experience, where this was a much more chill first 90 minutes with the game.
Nice.
I came away from this a lot more positive than I did the first time. Not that I didn't have fun with it or couldn't see potential, but I saw more of the vision and like felt that it had more of an identity that felt really good, like it was pulling from Lego games, but didn't really feel like a one-for-one with the Horizon skin, which I have seen a bit of backlash from about today, because it's not about like breaking everything and collecting bricks. Like, it does feel like a Horizon story set that's built out of Lego, I guess. But yeah, I think really fun. The story, which to be honest, like I think I said this in my original review, like the Horizon story, even though I could see potential, like I just didn't take it in because of how spread out I was doing the main story missions. So I am like really keen to go back to that and play through the story with some Lego humor. I think this is going to get a lot of people into the franchise or like back into it. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Back into Lego games or Horizon?
Well, both, but I think Horizon. I feel like a lot of people would have played Horizon and didn't finish it, or they didn't pick up Forbidden West for whatever reason. But I do feel like a lot of people will play this, granted it is $100, and then be really keen to check out the rest of the Horizon offering.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed Horizon. I'm excited to see what this game is. Like I like Horizon, and I grew up playing all the Lego games and love those. So I think in that regard, it kind of ticks all the right boxes, and kind of hearing the description of it, it kind of reminds me a little bit more of those kind of traditional Lego games. Yeah, although maybe kind of less like collecting all the mini kits and stuff like that. But yeah, I think like it's cooperative too, right? The game, if I remember
It is, yeah,
correctly.
online co-op as well. I think it's the first Lego game to have online co-op. I don't know if the
Lego
last
Star Wars
one
did on
Did
360.
it? Okay.
On 360 though, a while ago.
Yeah, that for that reason as well, like I'm interested in it. Like my girlfriend took interest in it. It might be one I can play with her and her kind of first taste of like the Horizon IP. So yeah, I'm also kind of thinking I need to revisit Forbidden West. I can't really remember the big bit of that game. I kind of
that was
remember
my
where it
biggest
left off,
issue
but
with getting into Forbidden West. Like I couldn't really remember what happened in the first game, to be honest. So
it's a surprisingly
I'm
complex story.
It is, yeah. No, I think this is going to hit really well. Like it is simple. Like it I feel like again for $100, like I get why it is a big ask for like an 8-to-10 experience, but like it feels like a AAA game in visuals and everything else that it's doing. I think it's good.
Brody, James, do either of you have an interest in it?
Yeah, passing interest. Like Horizon is not a franchise where I finished either of the games. That I've played them both for maybe an hour each, and I see the appeal. But I've always liked obviously the what is it? I guess the humor, and I guess how they tackle these Lego games. I think they're obviously they make some IP that could be inaccessible, otherwise accessible. So. And I think Shannon has said it'd be a good one to play with my son. So, yeah, might onboard him into the world of PlayStation and lose him forever. So
that's exciting.
He can review it.
Yeah.
Well, make sure you ask him what he thinks of the Welcome Hub as well. I will fire it up because that is now available in Australia. The Welcome Hub is kind of got like, hey, Shannon, what's it got? The Welcome Hub.
Well, Ewan, I thought you'd never ask. It's
a long list of stuff that I couldn't remember.
It is. It's like your battery life for your controllers, messages, trophies, your storage, which you can scroll between all your different storage options.
Yeah, seeing how much of your storage you have remaining actually would be so handy.
Yeah. And yeah, I knew it was like we knew what it was, but like it shocked me like how customizable it is in terms of like where you can move widgets and resize them, and like really you can get rid of the PlayStation Plus and the new stuff if you just don't give a shit about being marketed to. Like I think it's better than what was there before, which was I think was the PlayStation Plus screen or the PlayStation Store. Like this is a big improvement.
Yeah, nice
over what was there before.
Well, the rapid fire question I had for you all today on the topic is, are you excited for the update, and what wallpaper are you selecting, kind of given that that's a feature of the update as well? So Shannon, I can tell you're excited for the update, but what wallpaper are you equipping?
So I set my Ape Escape Astrobot
nice
spike thing as my wallpaper from my own screenshot.
Cute.
So I'm very happy.
James, Welcome Hub, you excited? What wallpaper are you selecting?
I'm not. I don't. I guess there's a screenshot of RE7 somewhere in my files. I'll put one there.
Just speak yourself every time it fires
just Ethan in the sludge.
And yourself, Brody?
Yeah, look, I'm beside myself. This is just the news I wanted. I'll probably stick with the default. You know, just as God intended.
The default.
It's very dynamic.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably be one of the few using it, so It is dynamic, really.
I did have a really good Last of Us theme back in the day on my PS4 that I would love to kind of reuse if I could, but I don't.
I miss
think
dynamic
that'll
themes.
be the case. Yeah, the dynamic themes are awesome. I'm not pretending this is the same thing. Like, I get that it's just a wallpaper, but yeah.
The Astrobot one moves, so it is dynamic in a sense.
Well, hopefully they do more of those, because they were always a lot of fun. And Xbox
Groundbreaking.
does pretty well with those, I think.
Yeah.
Not that you can see them,
Moving
because they're the fucking all
controller,
behind the
wallpaper.
UI, but...
Yeah, all the UI. All right. Now it's time for What the Wiki, the Press Start podcast game show, where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page from an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, with the round concluding after someone's bagged themselves 2 points. You do, of course, get a bonus point if you clean sweep and get the first 2 guesses as well. As last week's winner, Shannon is in the hosting chair today. Quick recap of the scoring. James, you are in the lead on 36 points. Myself and Shannon are tied in second place on 30 points. Brody, you're in third on 21. Kieran's in fourth on 10 points, and Harry is bringing up the rear with 5 points. But Shannon, yeah, as last week's winner, you're in the hosting chair today. Take it away.
Let's do it. I'm definitely remembered that I was hosting and prepared.
You're always so prepared. Always so prepared.
The game is a virtual reality simulation game developed by Alchemy Labs for Windows, PS4, PS5,
Ewan.
Apple Vision Pro.
Oh. Taking a random punt. Is it Job Simulator?
It is Job Simulator. Well
Let's
done.
go.
Ewan. Huge if true. Game number 2.
Let me just quickly pull up the Wikipedia page in the background here.
Let me quickly find it.
The game is a 2019 first-person shooter game developed and published by Stress Level Zero. The game is designed to be entirely physics-based, with the players controlling a
Ewan.
full virtual
Ooh,
body.
I'm just going to take a punt.
Oh, God, wow.
Is it... I feel like this is too... I think this came out earlier, but I'm going to say super hot?
Nah.
No.
The game is designed to be entirely physics-based, with the player controlling a full virtual body that responds not just to the player's real-world input, but also to obstructions in the game's world. In the game, players take on the role of a rogue cybersecurity director who escapes into an unfinished simulated universe, battling through... Yes, Brody?
You didn't say if this was VR, did you? I'm going to assume it is. Is it Synapse?
It's not Synapse. I don't know if any of you have played this, but it is...
Ewan?
Yes, Ewan.
Can I guess again? I don't know if... I'm imagining it was VR, but now I'm not so sure if he did say that. Is it the Stanley Parable?
It's
No?
not the Stanley Parable. I didn't say it was VR either. I don't believe.
No, but I
Okay.
thought that might have been a theme that you just aren't leading us on.
Yeah.
You'll never know until someone guesses. Battling through surreal architecture and mysterious scenes with a variety of experimental physics-based weaponry.
Who was the developer again? Stress Level Games or something.
Yeah, I don't...
Okay.
Physics-based...
Is that the end of the paragraph? Are you trying to find more to read?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find something that's not just going over the same stuff again.
Wikipedia, baby.
Go to What the Steamy.
Half-Life 2, an FPS created by Valve in 2004, was a source of inspiration due to its physics-based interaction.
Ewan.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember... No, I'm just going to guess what's in my head. Superliminal?
No.
It's not a shooter.
Oh, it's a shooter. Yeah, of course.
He said first-person shooter, I think.
Did you?
I'm pretty sure.
Just
I
go
did,
from
yeah.
the top.
First-person shooter 2019.
It's only on Windows. I'll say that. It's not written anywhere here for some weird reason, but I will just throw that in there.
Can you tell us one thing? And so we all know. Is it VR?
In most VR titles, the
Brody.
player moves through the world via Yeah, they do.
Is it Boneworks?
It is Boneworks.
Well done,
Brody. Huge, if true.
Okay, so we're after a VR game. But why? Oh,
This is just
Arkham
because-
Shadows is coming out, of
Shannon
course.
just wants to go and play Batman.
Alright, let's do this.
Let's do this, and then he sits in
he's-
silence for 5 seconds.
While his dial-up internet fucking loads the Wikipedia page.
Because it's not what I thought it was going to be. The game is a 2019 virtual reality game developed by Free Lives. and published by Devolver Digital.
Uh,
The player is a gladiator who fights opponents to death in arena using weapons at their disposal.
What's this
The
called?
game was launched. Can I get a word out? The game was launched in early access in 2016 and had a full release in 2019 for Microsoft
Brody.
Windows.
oh no.
Yes, Brody.
Is it called like Gron or something like that?
Not Gron, no.
Not Gron.
Oh my god. It's not Gron. A PlayStation VR version released in 2020 and an Oculus Quest port followed in 2021. An updated version for... Yes, James.
Is it Grok?
Is it Grog?
Isn't that the fucking
It
Twitter
is a
AI?
four-letter word starting with
Oh, yeah, it is. Nah, I know.
It's something
Freelance
like
are
that.
the Angerfoot devs, aren't they?
Yeah. It's something like
Oh,
that.
I can like picture this game.
I reckon it's very close to Gron.
James.
It
James,
is very...
can I go again?
You can't...
Oh, Ewan.
Is it Gorm?
I don't
Is
reckon
that
it
a
is.
thumb?
Spell that.
Gorm.
Brody. Ewan's next, but I'll queue up.
I think I've
Yes.
forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, it is Grom? Are you saying yes? Oh.
Go on, Ewan.
Is it Grug the Barbarian?
Isn't Grug like in those picture
dead.
books?
Is this
I'm
another?
dead.
I feel like
That's
it's
something
another.
I've heard of before.
Okay, so I'll go now. I'm going to say James was very close. I'm going to say it's Gorn.
It is Gorn.
Gorn.
Not Gron, not Gorn. That was amazing.
Oh,
I
fuck.
think I've just named an Elden Screen character. An Elden Ring.
Is Brody won the round? Is that...
Is Brody one? Yes, he is.
Yes, Brody. Brody has won. Getting
By
it
the
up to
power
20
of Gron.
Gron? Oh, dear.
Brody got up to 23 points there, closing in on Shannon, but I crept away with 1 point up into second place. But with that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at pressstart.com.au. We've been joined today by James.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at JamesATJAMZ.
In the hosting chair, it was Shannon.
Yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Grixty on everything.
And scoring the points today, it was Brody.
How many times do you think you'd score 2 points, win the round, but go down a placing in the wiki? Because that's what just happened to me. Yeah, you can follow me on most things at Brody_DG.
And I've been your host, Ewan Roxburgh. You can follow me on socials at Ewan_Roxburgh. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, happy gaming.
Play Gron.
Good night. Gron.
Bye.
Gorm.
Grok.
I think my D&D character was called Gronk.
Grok sent me.
Gorm. You said Gorm, didn't you? That's what
He did.
James said.
It's spelled Gorm, yeah.